The film begins with the departure of a train, and we are immediately taken back to the year 1968. At this time, Paul had created a Skyview restaurant as a surprise for Iris. Iris is thrilled and overjoyed by this gesture. For the restaurant's promotional campaign, a photo is taken featuring Paul and Iris with a stowaway in the background. Soon after, they all enter the stunning restaurant. The floor of the restaurant is made entirely of glass, offering a clear view of the world below. At its center is a live kitchen where chefs are actively preparing food. The atmosphere is lively, with people dancing and enjoying the celebration. During the party, Iris places a rose in Paul's jacket pocket. Unfortunately, the thorn pricks his hand, causing a small injury that makes him feel dizzy and unwell. Observing this, the restaurant singer senses something unusual. She quietly asks Iris if she might be pregnant. To everyone's surprise, Iris herself hears this possibility for the first time, but her expression shifts from confusion to joy. She becomes genuinely excited by the idea. While mingling, Iris also notices the singer's son, a young, mischievous boy. For some unknown reason, she feels drawn to him. Later, Paul takes Iris to the terrace for a romantic moment. There, he proposes to her. Iris, overwhelmed with happiness, accepts his proposal and shares the joyful news. She's expecting a baby. Paul is equally delighted. Back inside, the little boy is seen again. He tosses a coin from the terrace, and instead of simply falling to the ground, it gets sucked into the air conditioning duct due to vacuum pressure. As the celebration continues and guests dance inside the restaurant, it becomes apparent that the glass floor is starting to shift slightly. The coin continues to travel through the AC system, spinning through the ducts. Then suddenly, a critical failure occurs. The glass floor gives way. Many guests lose their footing and fall as the structure collapses. Paul tries to save himself by holding onto a broken piece of glass, injuring his hands and legs in the process. Despite his efforts, he is unable to hold on and falls. Tragically, he doesn't survive. Iris, however, manages to stay on a structural support beam and avoids falling. Meanwhile, the coin continues its path through the AC system and causes damage to a gas pipe. This leads to a fire outbreak in the live kitchen area. In the chaos, the singer loses her life while Iris hides under a piano for protection. Trying to escape, Iris makes her way to the lift, which is already overcrowded. Just before the lift descends, a man tragically slips beneath it, leading to a malfunction. The lift crashes and the passengers inside do not survive. Iris heads back up and sees that a part of the restaurant is now dangerously hanging to one side. A few survivors cling to whatever support they can find. The piano, where Iris had earlier taken shelter, is now ironically acting as the only thing balancing the hanging structure. The same coin, still spinning through the duct system, eventually falls and lands directly on the piano. This disrupts the delicate balance, and the remaining portion of the restaurant collapses. Sadly, those inside do not survive the fall. In the next scene, Iris is shown with the singer's son, the same mischievous child from earlier. She manages to catch him and tries to take him to safety, but just then, the floor beneath them begins to collapse. In a desperate attempt to save them, Iris places a ring between two chains to create a support. However, her hand slips, the ring falls, and both Iris and the child lose their balance and fall. Tragically, they do not survive. Suddenly, we hear a loud scream, and it's revealed that everything we've seen so far was actually a vivid hallucination experienced by a girl named Stephanie. She's in her classroom, and her scream disrupts the entire session. When her professor questions her, Stephanie explains that she frequently experiences disturbing visions and hallucinations. That night, she wakes up again, frightened by another terrifying dream. Her concerned roommate suggests she talk to her family about it. Taking the advice to heart, Stephanie visits her home, meets her father and her younger brother, whom she shares a close bond with, and then travels with him to their uncle's house. Her uncle is her mother's brother, and they receive a warm welcome. Stephanie shares a great connection with her cousins and enjoys the time there. During the visit, she asks her uncle about her grandmother, Iris. Yes, the same Iris we saw in Stephanie's visions was actually her grandmother. But upon hearing Iris's name, her uncle becomes visibly upset and tells Stephanie that Iris is dead to them. He claims she lost her sanity, abandoned the family, and went to live alone on a remote island, never returning. He also blames her departure for the decline in Stephanie's mother's mental health, which eventually led her to leave the family too. Though her uncle refuses to say more, Stephanie's aunt offers her support. She secretly gives Stephanie the letters Iris had sent over the years, along with her address and some of her personal belongings. Among these was a photo of Paul and Iris taken in front of the Skyview restaurant. Seeing the image deeply shocks Stephanie. It's the same place from her visions. Determined to find answers, Stephanie sets out for the island where Iris had been living. She finds a rundown house surrounded by desolation. She introduces herself at the door, and Iris, recognizing the name, invites her inside, overwhelmed with emotion. Iris is thrilled to meet her granddaughter. She asks about Stephanie's mother, and Stephanie explains that her mother left when they were children. Then Stephanie shares the real reason for her visit. She's been having recurring, disturbing dreams of the Skyview restaurant collapsing. Visions in which Iris and Paul were dying. She confesses that she sees these dreams every day, both day and night. Iris responds calmly and reveals a shocking truth. She too used to have the same visions, and thanks to those visions, she was able to prevent the disaster from fully unfolding. On that day, she had taken the coin from the child's hand, an action that prevented the chain reaction. She had even announced a warning on the restaurant's microphone about the glass floor, allowing many people to escape just in time. Stephanie is stunned and asks, "You saved everyone's life that day?" Iris nods, confirming that she managed to outsmart death, but adds, "Death didn't take it lightly." Iris explains that after the incident, death began to follow the survivors one by one. Even if someone escaped that day, death eventually found them in different ways. And it didn't stop with them. If a survivor later had children, even those children weren't safe. She shares that Paul eventually passed away due to a terminal illness, and that was when she realized her turn was next. In an effort to protect the remaining members of her family, including Stephanie and her brother, Iris chose to isolate herself on this remote island. "As long as I'm alive," she tells Stephanie, "death can't reach your mother, your uncle, your cousins, or you and your brother." Stephanie, now deeply concerned, asks, "But why am I having these visions too?" Iris replies, "Because death is following us now." Before Stephanie leaves, Iris gives her a book. It contains detailed records of how the survivors of the Skyview incident later died, and it also includes guidance, strategies for outsmarting death. However, Stephanie finds it hard to believe. She refuses to take the book seriously, dismissing it as nonsense. As she prepares to leave, Iris tells her, "I'll come to see you again." Saying this, Iris went outside. She hadn't stepped out of that cabin in years, but now, to protect her family, she decided to face death. She handed the book to Stephanie and said, "Death will come after you now. To escape it, you'll need to use this book." Stephanie still didn't believe her, so Iris said, "Then watch me die." At that moment, we saw a gas leak starting nearby. Eventually, a hanging chain struck Iris, and something sharp hit her from behind. Iris collapsed and passed away. Now Stephanie began to believe everything Iris had said. 2 days later, it was Iris's funeral. Stephanie's mother was also present. She told Stephanie, "If another death is going to happen next, it will be mine." To save her mother, Stephanie began reading the book Iris had given her. Inside the book, Iris had hidden the same coin that had helped her prevent the disaster years ago. Understanding the importance of this, Stephanie immediately tried to call her family to warn them, but no one was answering her calls. Meanwhile, we were shown that her entire family was busy at a party. At the party, strange coincidences began to occur. A glass shattered, and a piece of it fell into an ice bucket. Everyone was taking ice from that bucket. One shard made its way into Stephanie's uncle's glass, but he unknowingly set it aside. One by one, various objects began shifting positions as if something was setting a trap. The uncle eventually dropped the glass, and a sharp shard pierced his leg. Due to the pain, he stumbled backward. That fall triggered vibrations in the floor, which disturbed a nearby lawn-cutting machine. In a horrifying moment, the machine hit him fatally. Everyone at the party was shocked and terrified. Stephanie, now panicked, explained to her family that death was targeting them one by one. She told them that after the Skyview restaurant incident, those who had escaped were slowly being hunted down, along with their future generations. She explained that first it was Iris Mary, then her eldest son, and now it would be her son's children. She even predicted that if Mary became a mother, then Stephanie herself would be next. Although Stephanie tried to convince them, most of the family didn't believe her. Her cousins were especially upset, thinking she was making a mockery of their father's death. Only one person believed her, Stephanie's own mother. But Stephanie was not on good terms with her mom and wasn't speaking with her properly. Then we were shown Stephanie's cousin, the eldest son, at his piercing shop. After closing for the day, he tattooed a tribute to his father on his hand. At the time, he was wearing a nose ring. As he moved around the shop, a fan with a magnetic chain started spinning. The chain was drawn to his nose piercing, pulling him dangerously. There was kerosene spilled nearby, and in the chaos, a lighter fell, igniting a fire. Though he managed to free himself from the chain, he fell into the fire. Flames spread quickly through the shop. As soon as Stephanie learned about the fire, she rushed to the location. On the way, the cousin unexpectedly appeared in front of her car, stopping her. Miraculously, despite the sudden stop, he was unharmed except for minor injuries on his arms. They were talking about the incident when a high-speed truck passed right by her. But again, nothing happened to him. He laughed it off, saying, "See, I told you nothing would happen to me." Stephanie, however, remained anxious. She started observing everything around them, alert for danger. When a garbage truck passed by, she warned him to stay away, but he went right up to her and said nothing was going to happen. Then, his sister went for a walk nearby. As she walked, her foot hit a ball and she stumbled into a trash bin. At that exact moment, sanitation workers arrived and began loading garbage into the truck. The three of them noticed this and rushed to stop the vehicle. Stephanie, without hesitation and ignoring the risk to herself, jumped onto the moving truck to stop it. But by the time she got there, the crushing mechanism inside had already activated. Sadly, the girl had been pulled inside and she was killed by the machine. And she died. Her death left everyone in deep sorrow. Her brother, devastated, whispered to her, "You were fine." But this time, Stephanie didn't accept his words. She believed something was wrong, that the one who should have died was actually the older brother of the girl who died. Just then, their aunt arrived and revealed a shocking truth. That boy wasn't the biological son of Stephanie's uncle. Because of this, death didn't claim him. But it took the girl, the elder daughter, instead. Hearing this, Stephanie was stunned. Everyone with her started to believe her theory. The younger brother of the girl who had died turned to Stephanie and said, "No, this time, it's my turn, but I don't want to die. Will you help me?" Stephanie replied, "I want to save you, but I don't know what's going to happen next." He said, "But you already do? Just look around you. Focus. You'll understand." Stephanie remembered something her grandmother Iris once told her. About a girl who had survived back then. She was still alive and working in a hospital. Her name was Ginny. She had somehow cheated death. She knew how to escape it. So they decided to find her. When they arrived and called out JD, Ginny was startled. Only Iris used to call her that. They asked how do you know Iris? Ginny replied, "I was there the day the tower collapsed. I was the singer's son." Hearing this, Stephanie recalled everything and recognized her. Ginny explained that Iris had visited her years ago, trying to save her husband Paul. Despite all their efforts, they couldn't change his fate. Stephanie asked, "Is there anyone who has survived?" Ginny said, "Yes. 2 people, but not in the way you think. Death took them first, but doctors managed to revive them. After that, death never came for them again." Stephanie pleaded for help, but Ginny said, "Even I cheated death once. But now, I have cancer, and one day, we all must die. That's our final destination. Before that, we should cherish the time we have left." The group was heartbroken. Then Stephanie's cousin came up with a risky idea. He planned to trigger his younger brother's peanut allergy by feeding him peanuts and then revive him using medication. That way, they could trick death. But things didn't go as planned. The vending machine didn't work. In desperation, he tried to force it open, and a screw got dislodged. They moved into another room. He told his brother to wait while he fetched the anti-allergy injection. While leaving, he knocked on the wall, accidentally pressing buttons that turned on an MRI machine. Moments later, he returned with the injection and a wheelchair. He told his brother to eat the peanut chocolate. But just then, the MRI machine activated. Its powerful magnetic field started pulling everything metallic. Stephanie's elder cousin, who had piercings all over his body, was dragged toward the machine. The wheelchair was also pulled in, and in a terrifying moment, both he and the chair were caught. His younger brother, who had eaten the chocolate, was in severe distress. He injected himself and began to recover. But just then, the loosened spring, dislodged earlier, struck him fatally. Even after all their planning, death still caught up with them. Everyone was heartbroken. Stephanie told her mom, "Now it's your turn." She added, "Iris's house, the place Grandma lived, maybe you should move there. She lived a long time in that house." Her mom agreed. Stephanie, holding a book in her hand, dropped a coin. An old lady picked it up and put it in her purse. Stephanie rushed to her grandmother's house and urged her mom to go inside with her brother. But what they didn't realize was that a gas leak had already started inside the house. Sparks from an electrical wire ignited it. There was a massive explosion. Stephanie's car parked nearby flipped into the water. She struggled to survive. Inside the house, her mother was caught in the fire. Her brother, standing outside, saw a falling tower about to crush Stephanie. Before it could, his mom appeared and pushed him out of the way. The tower fell, and she was killed. Now, the boy realized, it was Stephanie's turn. He jumped into the water and pulled her out. She wasn't breathing. He gave her CPR. And miraculously, she came back to life. They were relieved. Stephanie had returned. She had faced death and survived. But the loss of their mother and friends left them deeply saddened. The scene shifted. Time had passed. Life was back to normal. Today was Charlie's, Stephanie's brother, graduation party. Stephanie was happy. She put a rose in her pocket, a thorn pricked her hand, and blood appeared, just like the blood Iris had once seen in her vision. Stephanie realized the game wasn't over. Death was returning. Elsewhere, we saw the same coin that Iris had kept. Now, with the old lady. As she opened her purse, the coin fell out and rolled onto the train tracks. It settled in the junction point, potentially jamming the switch. Back at Stephanie's house, her brother's friend, a doctor, came to visit. He said, "Your brother told me about you. You're very lucky to be alive." Stephanie smiled. "Yes, I was lucky." But the doctor said, "Actually, you weren't alive. If a person doesn't breathe for 5 minutes, they're clinically dead. You were beyond that. What you experienced was not unconsciousness, it was death." Stephanie and her brother looked at each other in horror. Stephanie looked around and sensed something was wrong. Suddenly, they heard the rumble of a train. The train couldn't stop. They ran, but it was too late. Debris from the collision flew into the air and struck them both, and they died. The movie ended with the reminder, we cannot cheat death. It always finds a way, and one day it will be everyone's final destination. Thank you for watching.